Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Wahdahu la sharika lahu. I bear witness that there is no God but God and no partner has he. I greet everybody with the universal greeting of Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, we thank God, we glorify God, we depend on God, we seek God, we love God, we know God, we trust in God. But God always shows us a way out of any situation. But you got to hold on. Matter of fact, you must hold on. I'm going to read, inshallah, the title of the khutbah is called The Promised Land. The Promised Land. I'm going to ask God to help me tie it all in to where we can understand that it's deeper than a piece of land. Because people have said the promised land is here, and the promised land is there, and so on and so forth. And in certain instances, in that claim of this being the promised land, there has been transgression for that promised land. And people have been oppressed and depressed and oppressed because of certain claims pertaining to the promised land. But God willing, we're going to get some clarity on that. I'm going to read from Surah 27, the end. My Lord, I see refuge in you from the suggestions of the devils, and my Lord, I see refuge in you to ever come near me. Just bear with me, people, okay? Sometimes I can barely read my own writing. Okay. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Ta Sing. These letters working hand in hand with the Creator. When you work hand in hand with God, God takes care of you. Right? That's His promise. will take care of you who observe the contact prayers. Contact. Checking in with God, recharging your soul battery, right? Right? Because we can recharge this physical battery all day, and what's going to happen? We're going to get tired. Because don't the physical body get tired? Right? We take all these herbs and supplements and do all these different exercises and try to eat this and eat that, and we still get tired. Right? But when we work on the soul, when we truly work on the soul, we will not be tired. We will be happy. Right?
Yes, sir.
Happy. Because we got a beacon. Right? A light, a direction that shows us the way, that shows us how to get out of any situation if we only believe. If we only make that contact prayer. Same way we call each other on the phone, we email and text and whatever we do, communication, send a letter or whatever, we make the contact with the Creator.
Teach me.
And God tells us that for those who don't believe, their life is adorned in their eyes. So they're not seeing what it is God wants them to see. So what happens? They keep bumping into that wall, right? Been there, done that. Bumped into the walls, right? Kept bumping into them and bumping into them, right? Couldn't get through the wall, right? Blundering, God says. They continue to blunder. So right in this here, if we are continuing to have the same situation keep coming at us and coming at us and coming at us, and we are not getting out of it or seeing a way out of it, then we are blundering somewhere. This is what God is telling us. We are blundering somewhere. So, and this is not judging, because this is part of the human experience, but it's for us to take a look and say, what, where, and what it is that I'm doing wrong here. Is it my tone? Is it the way that I approach people? You know? Am I sitting down and planning what it is I need to do so I don't blunder? Am I running this by those who know, who have a better, stronger insight than me? Or am I big-headed in my knowledge, thinking I got this, and I continue to blunder without seeking a higher communication from the Creator? Because it ain't going to go right unless God is included in it being right. So we have to, whatever it may be, solely depend on the Creator, because that is the true promised land. The true promised land, yes, we know it deals with land, but the true promised land is when you know that God is directing your every move because you are following what it is that God wants you to do. So you will get the promised land in your life. And it ain't got to be no whole lot of acres either. It don't.
Yes, sir.
It could be little small ventures that you are striving to do, that God will make it manifest and it will become fruitful in your eyes. Right? In your blessings, in your provisions, in your needs, where it might be a whole heap, or it might be just enough to where you are content with your lot, right? Because it's still bringing about a fruitation. Because you planted those seeds and those trees are growing. And your promised land is being manifested right there before your very eyes. So, contact is vital for any venture we may want to be manifested in our lives. Whether it's good relationships with our families, more income, more peace of mind, whatever it is. Because we're in the earth, and God says He's made the earth what? Habitable for us. So God is telling us that He has placed some things in this earth that if you just take those steps, those godly steps that God says, look, do it like this. Do it like this. Because He already placed it in your DNA on how for you to get what it is you need to get and for you to do what it is you need to do. You know what I'm saying? To how to navigate and get it. Habitable. So what He's saying is it's already yours. It's been yours before you got down here. Because before we came down here, we didn't know nothing about the trees and this and that and so on and so forth. I mean, it was in our DNA to have this knowledge, but as far as feeling it and tasting it and walking upon it, we didn't know those things until we came out the birth canal. And even in that, we were stumbling, right? Getting up fall, right? Mama need milk and all that, so we had to change our diaper and all that, right? Bathe us and all that, right? Then you start growing up, right? You start like, sort of like that seed. It's growing, getting stronger. Before you know you rising, before you know you walking on your own, you doing things on your own. And how are those things being allowed for you to do? God allows you to do those things. See, sometimes we forget that God is allowing us to do whatever it is that we're doing. Like right now, we're breathing. Right now, we're opening our eyes, we're hearing with our ears, thinking with our brain. We're not doing it, God is doing it. So what I'm trying to say here is, if we hold on to that, this world will not conquer us as much as it sometimes do. Because we got an outlet. We got a gateway. We got a way out. Just like we got a way in, we got a way out. That's the hope for us. Because God also says He has given us something that our ancestors and our mothers and fathers may not have gotten. So He's given us a high communication from Him. For you, for me, for us. That's why it's important to read the Quran. Because God says it's a beacon. If we are reading the book, then the beacon will give us light and help us in those dark times. Yeah, it will help us. Because life is going to happen whether you like it or not. What you going to do? Huh? Freak out? Go crazy? No, you call on your Lord through the contact prayer. Right? That's what God tells us. He says also the Quran is a beacon. Pick the book up and read it. Right? Even if it's 10 ayats a day, at least you're picking up the book. You're trying to, connect with your Creator, because we all may have different situations. And some of us may not be able to handle uncomfortable situations as good as someone else in the community may know how to. Okay? You might crumble like a cookie, whereas someone else might stand strong and face it. We are on different levels. So, what, I try to do when I'm going through, listen, we all go through some trials and tribulations. That's why it's good to have somebody you can talk to. Right? Can't hold it in, you'll go crazy. Blood pressure rising, right? Acting out. Then lady got to go say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I was going through something. I was upset. Right? The human situation that we go through. So, let me read a few more ayats of the Quran. Because it seems like when I write something down and I'm ready and God just takes me somewhere where He wants me to be. So I'm going to follow where God wants me to be in relation to the sermon. But the title of the sermon is called The Promised Land. So let me read some more ayats. Okay? Because we don't want to be the worst losers. Because we have had some losses. All of us in this room, we have had some losses, right? And through our prayer and turning to God, God showed us, okay, you had some losses. You went through some emotional things as a human being. But guess what? Continue holding on to me, right? Continue striving to me. Continue calling on me. I'm gonna help you, okay? Okay, you're gonna go through a little pain. It's part of life. But, you know, I'm the creator. I created all this. I test you. God says He tests us through the loss of lives, through wealth, through children. God tells us what those factors are that we get tested within. Listen. The book explains where the test is coming from, how to deal with the test, what to do when the test comes. So what God is saying is that there's a certain thought process that I want you to have because some things are going to happen in your life. And from my understanding, God has been showing me and showing us that we must continue to worship our Creator under any given circumstance, because that's when we're going to really realize if we really believe and worship God alone. It's not when we got everything, we doing good and everything going good. It's when, excuse my French, when all hell is breaking loose, what are you going to do then? When you get some bad news pertaining to whatever it may be, health, loss of wealth, all that stuff that God tells us in the Quran. Listen, the beauty about us worshiping the Creator is He's already told us what we're going to go through. But if we're not reading the book, when it happens, we're going to go crazy. But if we got prior knowledge of we're going to go through this, then we're a little bit more prepared for whatever's coming down the pipeline. On that, let us repent. Alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah. I bear witness that there's no God but God, no partner has it. I greet everybody again once again. Assalamu alaikum. The title of the cookbook is called The Promised Land. Because we want the promised land. We want the peace of the promised land. We want the joy of the promised land. We want the bliss of the promised land. We want the success of the promised land. And your promised land can be anything that's positive and righteous in accordance to the will of God. That could be your promised land. That's right. You can have your own little piece of your promised land in this world here. That's right. You can. That's right. It can be a little corner with a few plants, right? And just your little comfortable, peaceful place. That can become your promise. That's right. And then if you are able to, have the finances to obtain other aspects of the promised land, which may be owning some acres and some property and some flowing rivers and all that while you're in this earth, MashaAllah, then that's another level of the promise. Yeah. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard. Because we have an understanding of what God is saying to us and telling us. See, we don't want to be like how we used to be. Complicate the path. Make it so big that you got to do certain things in order to touch and kiss the face of God. We don't want to do that because God don't ask us to do that. God asks us to do some simple things. Because if he asked us to do the hard things, we wouldn't be able to do it. So he gives us little itsy bitsy pieces of faith, of hope, of determination in your striving to do what it is that you can do on the level that you are within in this path. That's what God does for the individual in the earth. That's right. For you, and me. That's right. We ain't got to complicate this. We don't. Get your little piece, or your middle piece, or your big piece of the promised land. You know? It don't take a whole lot of money, and it may not even take no money, depending on what your promised land is. Because for me, the true promised land is that moment of peace within. That's the true promised land. Because you can have all the stuff and be unhappy and miserable. So what I'm realizing is the true promised land is the inner peace within yourself, your soul, your life, your communications, your going to and fro, your dealings, your waking, your sleeping, in your dwelling, in the way you walk, in the way you feel. I'm going to call it God confidence. That's what I'm going to call it. God confidence. The beacon. God confidence. Because God will give it to us, man. He'll take you when you're weak. And they got to do say, God, help me. Build you back up with the God confidence. Within the promised land. And everything will be all right. But you got to believe that it will be. Because in it, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Now listen to this here. Go back 1 second.
Praise be to God.
The power of God. I'm on 6, the ant. Surely you are receiving the Quran from a most wise, omniscient. Most wise, omniscient. That means God knows everything, known, unknown, before it's thought, after it's thought, and when it's thought. Omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, can do what you cannot do, so you better depend on him. You got to depend on that power. Because there's some things that we just cannot do. That we just cannot deal with in this earthly situation. That's why we panic when we are faced with certain situations. And this is why God says, what? The beacon? The Quran is a beacon? He's saying that it's a light. And if we try to read it, pick it up, including myself, I'm not perfect, we will get the light. The light is the answer to what ails us. And winding the football down, because what I really wanted to delve in, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. I'm still in the end. 79, 81. Therefore, put your trust in God. Put your big ear on, people. Okay? Because now we're getting an answer and a solution, a way out as to how we can get out of certain situations that we may think we can't get out because we don't have that power. We have power, but there's a certain power that we don't have, and it can only come from God. So I'm going to read it right here. Therefore, put your trust in God. Let me say that again. Therefore, put your trust in God. You are following the manifest truth. Manifest. So God said you're going to see it. You're going to feel it. You're going to know it's the truth. Because it's a manifest truth. It's in your DNA. You cannot make the dead nor the deaf hear the call if they turn away. So let's not turn away. Let's not turn away. I don't care how big that trial, that test, that tribulation is. Let's not turn away, people. And I'm talking to myself too. Let's not turn away. Put our trust in God, right? Because that's the remedy. That's the way out of anything. Now, nor can you guide the blind out of their straying. The only ones who will hear you are those who believe in our revelations. So, if they believe in the revelations, they will hear us. If they don't, they won't hear us. So let's stop wasting our time, wasting our emotions, wasting our energy. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they are. Once we give them this food, right? This piece of the promised land that's from the Creator, and they don't hear it, it is what it is. Focus on you. Save your soul. But still, be kind. Because through our kindness, they may come around. Because God says if you was mean-hearted and harsh, they would have ran away from you. So in this, in ending, we still be kind. The only ones who will hear you are those who believe in our revelation and decide to be submitted. So this is a process of decision making. It's doing some big girl, big boy stuff. And deciding, you know what? I'm going to believe and I'm going to walk with God and do the best that I can. And if I make a mistake, I'm not going to beat myself up anymore, because this is part of the transformation for us to get to the true promised land. You're going to make some mistakes. You ain't going to always do it right. So relax. Take a deep breath. Be okay. So that concludes the sermon. Let us make prayer.